Stefan Voss with the EMSD Mid-Range Solutions and Business Development Group. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Oracle and how our mid-range VNX empowers this ecosystem. Very important to kind of keep in mind what the pain points are for the Oracle database administrator. And they're very simple, sort of simplistic view here, but at the end of the day, they will always care about performance and meeting their SLAs, right? So that's going to be a key requirement for any DBA. You have to make sure that it's, of course, always on, always available. We have to have a strategy to recover in case we do lose some data. And then, of course, everything has to happen at a budget or at a very low TCO, right? So these will always be in play in some sort of priority. When you look at sort of the DBA, sort of the database servers, and 12c being the latest version of the Oracle database, what we do like to sort of consider, and it's not happening as much as you would expect, is that we would want to virtualize that environment. People are concerned about performance, but the reality is performance for virtual environments is indistinguishable to physical environments for most of the environments. And by doing so, we actually do decrease sort of or improve asset utilization, because I basically, as long as I have headroom, can consolidate and reduce my server footprint. What also happens is I reduce my licensing costs. 12c and SQL licenses as well are licensed at a physical core. If I can consolidate licenses onto a virtual instance, I basically cut my licensing costs in half, and I just doubled my server utilization. So there's a lot of value, and of course I can then move these around. Workload mobility is very important for load balancing and so forth. Now, we'd like to think that a lot of these instances are connected to shared storage for very good reasons. It's an enabling technology for a lot of the virtualization technologies. It's very efficient. And this is one of the ways we do like to think about taking out costs while maintaining performance and SLAs, giving you the ability to adjust and respond to spikes in workloads, which is inevitable in a database, is very important. We have drives here. Don't have to get scientific. We have fast drives. Those are our flash media typically. SAS drives, nearline SAS, slow drives. Cheap, middle of the road, more expensive from a dollar per gigabyte perspective, but obviously the lowest from a dollar per performance metric. We have sauce, the secret sauce, right, that basically makes sure that data always ends up on the right tier at the right time without user intervention. It's a nightmare for the DBA to have to manage SLAs, move volumes around. Huge value. Very relevant conversation for the DBA. Exciting, you can get an extra boost in your response time, lower it dramatically if you put some cache cards in here, very much closer to the application that generates the load. If you want to, so these in combination actually are a very effective way to reduce your response time, which really is what matters for applications that leverage the databases. But at the same time, it's all about lowering the footprint. Fewer drives, less power, less floor space. In other words, OpEx we want to make go down, as well as CapEx. So there's a big value. We always talk about it in the sense of performance, but it's really delivering this in combination with that which sets the VNX apart from the other arrays in the market today. Now, the other thing we talked about is always on. There's kind of two flavors to that. And, to give you one example, we have a lot of nice technology to essentially turn one array into an active cluster. So VPlex is the enabling technology, VNX, a continuous availability, where I basically turn two arrays with similar characteristics into an active cluster that can be stretched if that's what the user wants to do. So a lot of technologies we actually bring to the table to make sure that we address always on. But of course, there's always stuff that can go wrong, and I want to make sure that I give the database administrator tools to understand when there are faults or failures within the storage subsystem that can put the database instant at risk. And the integration we have to do that is basically our Oracle Enterprise Manager plugin. This is where the DBA lives. So the DBA, the database administrator, can actually pull end-to-end stats or visibility or monitoring to understand, when there is an event that does happen in the storage subsystem, I can flag it. I can use our built-in analytics tools to return to a state of normal operations before it becomes an issue. So clustering, if you will, active-active to make sure that we have a proactive approach, but there will always be some event correlation we need to do, and that's the tools we provide. Last, recovery. So we do have snaps, and we have sort of built-in recovery products for short-term retention, but we always want to also provide a backup strategy for long-term retention. And there's one cool feature that we actually certainly do, which is another thing that the database administrator can do, him or herself, which is an RMAN backup leveraging DDBoost straight to data domain. Again, another highly efficient platform that we have, built-in deduplication, and you're basically enabling the DBA to shrink the primary storage volume, be very efficient, meet the SLAs, but also have a recovery strategy or a backup strategy using the tools that that person always used before, connecting it to our technology. That's basically the Oracle value proposition around the VNX in a nutshell. Thank you very much.